Welcome back to The Explainer. So, over our last 27 episodes, we've literally analyzed the admissions popularity of 28 major universities. We're talking the big public ones like NTU, NCCU, NYCU, and NCKU, all the way to private heavyweights like Suzhou, Tamkong, Fujin, and Chengyan. But today we are putting a massive magnifying glass on just one, National Taiwan Ocean University, or NTOU. We're going to see exactly how every single department there stacks up against these national peers. All right, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the popularity index, look at 4 macro variables, check out tech and engineering, ocean and biosciences, humanities and law, and then give our final verdict. Let's get right into it. Section 1, the popularity index and our methodology. Before we throw a bunch of raw data at you, we kind of need to understand how we actually calculate this popularity index. It's pretty clever, honestly. It combines 2 things, a department's ranking, which is the number of students who pass that first screening stage nationwide, and its fill rate, meaning the percentage of eligible kids who actually put it on their preference list. Basically, a smaller ranking number means it's harder to get into. So this index perfectly balances how tough it is to enter a program with how much students actually want to be there. Okay, moving to Section 2, 4 major market variables hitting NTO. You know data doesn't just exist in a vacuum, right? NTU has faced a wild timeline of chaos over the last 4 years. Back in 2022, the new high school curriculum sparked absolute panic. Then from 2022 to 2024, cross-exam behaviors were fluctuating all over the place. But the wheel kicker? 2024. The government rolled out massive private school tuition subsidies. Oh, and to fight back, NTU had to launch some really aggressive high school outreach for 2024 and 2025. Let me show you what that chaos actually looks like in numbers. In 2022, NTOU's average ranking shrank to a record low of 22,241. Remember, lower means harder to get into. Why did this happen? Well, anxious high scorers were completely freaked out by the new curriculum, so they played it super safe. They used mid-tier public schools like NTOU as a safety net, which artificially spiked the entry difficulty that year. But then, wow, look at 2024. The rank drops significantly, all the way down to 27,821. That means it got way easier to get into. This is the direct result of the government subsidizing private school tuition by 35,000 NT dollars a year. That policy literally drained NTU's applicant pool. Students who might have picked NTU just to save money on public tuition suddenly jumped ship for urban private universities because they became a whole lot more affordable. All right, Section 3, the tech and engineering benchmark. Here's where it gets fascinating. Looking at the engineering groups, NTU's electrical engineering is an absolute rock star right now. Sitting at rank 251 with strong forward growth, it's actually beating out National Chengcheng University, even if it's still chasing NCHU and NSYSU. Mechanical, mechatronics, and optoelectronics, they're showing solid momentum too, beating peers like Chengyan. But we have to talk about the software side. Computer science is sitting at 355 and actively declining. Communications and navigation is slipping at 539, and their brand new cybersecurity group is lagging way behind at 824. We're not going to sugarcoat this or pretend the problem doesn't exist. NTOU's CS department is suffering negative growth, which is wild considering we are literally in the middle of a massive global tech boom. Why? Because of those private school subsidies, students are willingly trading a public school title for the convenience of living in a city, picking places like Tamkong or the National University of Kaohsiung instead. Look, if you're an applicant, NTOU's CS door is practically wide open for you. But for university administrators, this is a massive, blaring red flag. Moving right along to Section 4, Ocean Core and Biosciences. This is NTO's historic monopoly, but it's really a tale of 2 completely different realities. On one hand, the maritime core is incredibly stable. Marine engineering, naval architecture, and merchant marine are all holding their own or growing in the 500s and 600s. But then, you look at the biological sciences, and they are in free fall. Food science is dropping, and life sciences and aquaculture are just taking heavy hits, plummeting down into the high 600s and 700s. So what's going on here? Well, it's pretty simple. Specialized maritime degrees act like a shield for NTU because they offer exclusive career pathways with almost no direct nationwide competition. They have a totally captive, stable applicant base. But general bio and life sciences? That's a whole different ballgame. NTU's geographic isolation and overall campus prestige mean they just can't compete with comprehensive powerhouses like NCKU and NCHU.
Students have other options, and they're definitely taking them.
Okay, Section 5, Humanities, Law, and Management.
Let's uncover NTO's biggest vulnerability. Aside from a tiny bit of growth in shipping and transport management, the rest of this sector is struggling badly. Whether it's transport science, tourism management, ocean law, ocean business, or cultural and creative, almost all of these are just languishing at the absolute bottom of the national rankings, way down in the 800s and 900s. And those specialized youth savings account groups, firmly stuck in the bottom tier. To put this brutal lag into perspective, NTO's ocean law is ranked an abysmal 910. Compare that to a traditional private powerhouse like Soochow Law, which sits all the way up at 183. Even law programs at Cultural University or Providence easily beat NTO's, and their business programs are losing out heavily to places like Tamkong Finance. The harsh reality? Slapping the word ocean onto a degree just doesn't attract business and law students. They want city internships, they want urban alumni networks, and NTO just isn't giving them that. Which brings us to Section 6, the final verdict. We've audited every single group. So what's the big takeaway? Basically, NTO is an absolute powerhouse if you want electrical engineering. They are aggressively riding that semiconductor wave, or if you want an exclusive merchant marine track. But its location is a real Achilles heel. It's making it way too easy to get into their computer science or law programs because they are bleeding students to urban private schools left and right. Now, to their credit, NTO's proactive Blue Ocean Shell High School Outreach Program is doing some heavy lifting to slightly stabilize their overall numbers for 2026. But for you, the student building a preference list, this data is basically a treasure map showing you exactly where the fierce competition is and where the back doors have swung wide open. So, ultimately, the data forces a pretty fascinating choice. Are you going to leverage NTO's unique maritime monopoly to launch a highly specialized career? Or are you going to take advantage of their dropping entry barriers to snag a tech degree from a national university? It's a game of strategy, and the numbers lay the board out perfectly. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the data, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.